Giuliano and I are here in an area of Minas Gerais called Gruta da Lapinha. This is an area that all of Minas Gerais is very rocky, and this area is just loaded with caves. There's caves everywhere. In fact, new caves open up all the time in the ground. In fact, here on the property there's a piece where a new cave has opened up. We'll probably show you that a little bit later. What's really neat about this area is these caves, and the whole area has been inhabited for about the last 10,000 years. There are skeletons they've discovered actually on the piece of private land that we're on now that have been dated at 12,000 years. And if you think about the current theories of populating the Americas, 12,000 years ago there wasn't supposed to be people here, and the cool thing about it is they look at these skulls and they took all the measurements off them and discovered that they were Negroid. They were not Asiatic people that had come down from the Bering Sea and all that. They were more closer racially to Australian Aborigines than anything else. So obviously there's a lot more going on here than current theories allow, and it's all kind of controversial, and you can do all the research. I'm not an anthropologist, I'm not an archaeologist. I just know what I read in the papers myself. So the cool thing is that you can find their remains here. There's a cemetery that was discovered of these people close by to the farm where we're at, and there's caves everywhere here. So these people apparently lived in the rock formations in the mouths of these caves and had been inhabiting this area for thousands of years, going back to the very dawn of human history here in South America. So we are at the very epicenter of bushcraft for South America. This is where mankind got its start here in South America, at least archaeologically. The finds we've been able to make. This is as old as it gets in South America. It was right here on this property. This is huge. Check this out. You got daylight coming in the other end of this.
Yep.
Here in central Brazil there are rock overhangs like this everywhere. In fact, we've used these types of shelters just like the ancient people here did because they're just a great place to get out of the rain. Whenever it rains here, the rain will actually drip off the rocks and will actually start to create a place in the front where you would not be able to spend the night. So you have to learn how to read the sign underneath a rock shelter to determine what place actually stays dry all the time. This area is all covered with footprints because the people come here to do rock climbing. So the area is all covered with footprints. This area right here is relatively undisturbed, and you can see that it's all pockmarked by rain drips coming from the rocks up above. But you can look in an area like this, and even if the ground is dry, it doesn't mean it's going to stay that way if it starts to rain. There are places where it'll stay dry for years and years and years, and there won't be anything growing there, and it'll be a good place to lay down and sleep. But you always have to make sure that no channels of water will run through or drips will land on you, or you're really defeating the purpose of building your shelter. Imagine putting a grass bed in a place like this, then having it start to rain, and you have to get up and move everything, and all get soggy and everything. Sighting your fire, you don't want your fire to be too close to the rocks. You don't want to heat them up. You want to keep it away from the rocks, but in a place where it won't get dripped or rained on, and where the wind isn't being channeled. A lot of times in these rocks, when the wind starts to blow, there'll be places where it'll just vector the wind right at you, and if you aren't paying attention, you could very well put yourself in a place where you're defeating the purpose of being in a rock shelter in the first place. This here is an example of the kind of pottery that you can find. It's actually a ceramic. Now that looks like a stone, but if you look at the sides, it's got these, it'll have two flat sides to it, which are slightly curved. Hope you can see that in the shot there. Those two sides, which are slightly curved, indicate that this was once part of a round pot or a clay jar or something like that. But you can find these things all over the place. The ground is littered with them. They're everywhere. Apparently these people used a lot of clay pots over a long period of time. You can see why they would have selected this area as a permanent shelter area. Juliana and I were talking last night about how it would have been to be here 10,000 years ago and discover such a place. I could just imagine some hunting party chasing a wounded animal up here, or just stumbling upon this place and saying, "Hey, go get the family, we're moving in." You know, and just you got this huge gallery here, which is open to the front, totally protected from the weather in here. I can see from the ground that it does get wet. There are areas where it does get wet. There's plenty of dry space in here, and it is not hard to imagine why this place would have been continuously habited for 7,000 years, off and on. Just a really neat place. But this right here is the epicenter of bushcraft in Brazil. This is the earliest area, where there's the earliest discoveries of human habitation in South America. The dates are disputed, but they're talking 10 to 12,000 years.